Hey, get out, out. Get out. Walter. Walter, come on. So we're in a heat wave this week. I think there's heat warning till Friday, the end of the week. So my plan is to try and get up as soon as I can and get as much work done, and maybe have an extra long lunch and maybe squeeze in a nap then when it's the hot part of the day. Though it is overcast now this morning, and I have to say, as long as the sun is not beating down, even if the temperatures are warm, it is not too bad working out here. But I did early this morning plant these zinnias, and I thought I better get them watered in. They're quite leggy. They've been in their tray too long, so and not much root on them, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye on making sure they stay hydrated, as well as myself and the dogs. Yeah, and these are the 2 living pathways that I put in earlier, kind of my experiment this year. I know living pathways are quite common in regenerative farms. I know they're good for the soil, the life of the soil, the health of my whole field. So I'm trying them out. I mowed them once because they were getting fairly tall. The oats were getting tall, but the clovers caught well. The oats have caught. I know I can mow them shorter, because the one thing I don't like so far is on dewy mornings, they're wet with dew, and then my shoes get quite wet. I like wearing shoes. I know I could put boots on. I just really like wearing shoes. So my other paths, my feet just stay drier, which is a silly con, but there's lots of pros for living pathways. So I'm definitely not saying I'm not going to do them, but this is just the beginning of the season. I know I can definitely mow it shorter, and that probably would help. Yeah, but we'll see. There's only 2 of these paths on my farm, so most of them are in the landscape fabric. But yeah, I think it looks good. I think a whole field of living pathways and just all the green. I do really love green, and I think it adds some beauty to it. I know I introduced you to Walter, crazy dog Walter. So he's 2. My other dog is Oscar, he's 8. So Walter is mostly lab. Oscar is 1/4 lab, and then I think Shepherd, Whippet, and I always forget what his 4th is. I know it'll come to me later. Yeah, so he's 2, he's 8. We kind of got Walter because Oscar is kind of my dog, and he likes our family, but he really likes me. He's always with me. If the kids need to find me, they look for Oscar, and then they know I'm somewhere around there. Probably the only time he's not with me, and which is why he's not happy with me this morning, is because there's all storms around us. Actually, right before I got up, it dumped on us. But there's lightning and thunder, and I don't know why, but lightning and thunder freak him out, and it's probably the only time that if he leaves me and runs to the house is because the thunder has gotten too loud. I don't actually like being out here in lightning either, but I've been watching the radar. The storms are moving that way. They look fierce, nasty. and they're that way, but it's clear over there, and that's the direction they're moving. So I'm quickly trying to cut because my friend is sending her daughter again to help me weed. So I got to get this done and in front of a fan so it can dry out, and then I can move on to some more weeding today. And look what I found. I didn't even look at them yesterday because I thought they were pretty much done. But just a handful of anemone, and I desperately need some fun things for my market bouquets this week. So super exciting. And these are butterfly ranunculus. I don't grow a lot of these because they are super expensive, and I don't have the best growing conditions for them, so it's hard for me to make any money on them. But I do grow a few because my designers like them. And they're super pretty, and maybe someday I'll figure out how to grow them really, really well. And I did order more for next year. So not a great week for getting hay in. It looked really good. It looked like a stretch of dry weather, and with the nice long June days, it's great for drying hay. The neighbors cut Friday. They cut our hay. We have a hay field at the back of our field there. It's not great hay because it's fairly old now, and it's also a piece of our property that can flood in the spring and fall, which is not ideal. But they cut it Friday, and then the forecast got quite a bit more unsettled, and we ended up having like 3 different rains on it, at least 3. One was like 1/3 of an inch, so that wasn't ideal. So they let it sit for a couple more days. It's quite a few bales down there. We just need 10 to 12 of them to get me through the year. So between this and the girls eat on the pasture, we should be good for another year. So yeah, I'm happy about that. I always feel more settled when I have the hay for the year in the barn and we're good to go. It is so wet out here this morning. Yes, I should have my little half boots on, but I'm in my running shoes. And it's full. Our paths are full of weeds. Normally I like to clean that up as we're going, but it keeps raining. We're weeding and then it rains and they're wet. So we'll get to that hopefully next week. But yeah, we're still in this hot, humid, unstable weather pattern. So not every day, but it's been a lot of rain this week. So yesterday too, I was trying to get my weeding done in here, and another storm blew over. That was another inch of rain. It just kept coming. So the field is really wet. I was thankful at the beginning of the week that Bob was able to bring compost onto those last dahlia rows, so I didn't have to do any wheelbarrowing. So that's really helpful. I have a couple more rows to go, but I don't know now if the field's too wet, but we're going to try and see if he can still get out there this week. The bed allows him to drive in, which is super helpful and speeds me up. So I was thankful for that. I am thankful for the rain. The stuff is really starting to grow with the heat, but I'm kind of done with the humidity. It is hot to work out here with the humid weather conditions. So I've been getting up early, it is very beautiful and peaceful in the morning, but I'm not this early of a morning person normally. But it's a little bit easier in June when the days are longer and I have lots to do, so I'm motivated to get up. And it's been nice. I've gotten lots of work done before the heat has really kicked in. Still planting and weeding and digging dahlias. I think this hot, humid weather is supposed to move on some point this weekend, maybe today or tomorrow. And then next week's not supposed to be as humid. I think it's still fairly warm. What else happened? Walter, we ended up having to take to the vet. Thankfully, Bob had time to do that. He did something to his front paw. They couldn't find anything in his paw, but it was definitely infected and something had punctured it. So he got his paw treated and now he's wearing the cone on his head, which is super annoying for him and me. He keeps running into me and everything because he's still crazy, Walter. So that was this week. What else happened this week? Yeah, we went to market. That was good. It was really hot, but people still came out, so super thankful for that. And I was happy with the variety of flowers I could get out of the field. We sent out a few designer orders, and June is just a really beautiful month for flowers. If you want a really pretty month. Actually, the designers can make any month pretty, but I felt like the orders that I was sending out were really pretty. So I think there's some pretty weddings this weekend happening. Yeah, I just got planting, weeding done. I'm wrapping up my dahlia planting, and I'm looking forward to less hot and humid conditions, hopefully this weekend. So yeah, just want to say thanks again for hanging out with me, and hope to see you again next time.